In today's news, the endgame is upon us. As paper money, it always dies. The question is not a matter of if, just when. As world debt has just crossed $225 trillion, and this is unlike anything we've ever seen before. But don't look now. As highlighted in this post from Professor St. Onge, the Federal Reserve has just reported its largest loss in history by far, $114 billion. And the worst part, as expected, you'll be the one covering it.
So how did the Fed lose so much money? Some of it comes from their paying Wall Street to park money at the Fed, which they do to hide inflation and because they like sending money to Wall Street. But the bulk of the Fed's losses are because they printed trillions to finance COVID lockdowns, used those trillions to buy bonds, mainly government debt, and then when they panic hiked rates to try and choke off inflation, bond prices collapsed. Meaning the Fed's pile of $9 trillion worth of bonds started losing money hand over fist. In fact, estimates of unrealized losses, meaning money the Fed has lost but hasn't yet fessed up to, could be well over $1 trillion at this point. It's worth noting this is fresh territory. The Fed never before turned in a loss until 2022. Now it will be losing money until our kids are grown. The Fed's losses are just beginning, 114 down, $1 trillion plus to go. In fact, they'll continue getting even bigger until interest rates come down hard, which will only happen with a hard recession, meaning yet more trillions in debt. Either way, we're looking at much more on the federal debt that's already hit $275,000 per American household, growing at almost $30,000 per household per year.
This is why I will keep reiterating, but again not financial advice, that it is imperative you need to do your own research, get your money out of fiat and look into investments like crypto, like XRP, as highlighted in this post from the Good Morning Crypto. Tokenomics and the digital age of finance is upon us. Crypto's takeover is here.
This is what's on the horizon for the crypto market. It's not about Bitcoin ETFs. It's not about hedge funds accumulating these assets. It's about a new digital age of finance where these new tokenomics enter the conversation mainstream. And I think price action is how people get comfortable with these assets, right? My family, like the average everyday consumer, isn't going to do enough research to understand which blockchain is which and what's most beneficial. People have jobs, they have families, they have things to do, right? But if you understand that these assets are going up in price, they get their foot in the door, they start to get interested in these things. And before they know it, they've got a digital ID linked to their bank account. And I kind of feel like that's the road that they're marching us down. But I did want to hear your perspective because you brought up that great quote. When we're talking about real world utility, is that what's going to drive in the majority of liquidity? And this is just the beginning when it comes to these ETF products.
Okay, so my theory is that when we get crypto legislation next year, it's going to say something about utility.